How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's doing great. I hope everyone's doing amazing because I know I am. My name is Chad, I'm a motion designer, and I'm learning to draw every day just to prove to people that it's not really that bad. Um, so things are getting very interesting. Things are getting very fun, very interesting, and I'm very excited. I'm scared as well, but also excited at the same time. Uh, man. Man, I don't even know what's going to happen. I really don't know. Which makes it so exciting. Alright. I guess enough talking. Let's just get this feeling, yeah? The drawing. My, what do you call these headphones? Are broke. One of the ears don't, I can't listen through these anymore. So, yeah. How's your day? Alright. I reckon we can draw one face and then watch a tutorial. So, Chainsaw Man. You know what? Let's do this one this time. Like a full body one. Excuse me. Bro. Excuse me. Alright, there it is. Let's try to see what we can do with this. Very foreshortened. Well, not very, actually. It's just a bit of a spiral. Just a spiral that's like moving away. Okay. This is very interesting because you have to take in consideration foreshortening, anatomy, and proportions. Insane. What's the biggest shape here? Let's think about that first. I reckon it could be something like this. Right, direction, proportions, stuff like that. There we go here. Right. And then let's say something like this, right? And then we have this like here. And this here. And sort of this here, okay? And then this is interrupted. And then we have a line here, right? The line breaks, sort of here. There it is. Actually, I think that's the shirt that's like hanging. This is going great. This is going great. When you think about proportions, man, everything is easy, I feel like. And I just have to make it click in my head. To make it click how, like, to think about, you know, the technical stuff, but proportions at the same time. Because if you only rely on proportions, you can't draw stuff from imagination. You also have to think a lot about technique. And obviously, I want to be able to draw stuff from imagination. How a thing is constructed, how to actually draw it. You know, I'm only following like shapes. Yeah, shapes are shapes, right? Everybody can follow shapes. Everybody can draw shapes. But not everybody can make sense of those shapes. Okay, something clearly went wrong here with the proportions, but we're just gonna keep going because I feel like it doesn't, you know, affect it too much. All right, that's it. The face is just the face is all right. Is it safe to say that? I don't think so. Looks funny, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Dad, when things get really interesting. What's up, Joe? How are you? Uh, yeah, I don't know if you watched the intro to the video, but Joe, honestly, I'm very excited for what's coming up. And when I say what I'm very excited for what's coming up, it's not like something that's going to necessarily bring pleasure, but it's going to be very challenging. Anything happens. Interesting. Bro. Everything in life is interesting. Yeah. But if things go a certain way, I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to the channel. And I'm going to work on actually growing it, not just like streaming. If things go a certain way, if they go another way, then I might not have as much time for the channel. But yeah, I'm excited either way. We need explanations? I can't. I really can't. I'm sorry. Maybe in the near future, I'll give more context to what's going on. But for now, you just kind of have to trust me. Bro, being under NDA. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's just that I don't want to give a lot of information about my life in general, you know? I just want to separate my life in here or in streaming as much as possible from my professional life. Not just not, you know, personal. I can talk about personal stuff. It doesn't matter when it comes to streaming because I like to vent about things. Sort of like a microtherapy type of thing in here. But professional, I really don't want to. But no, it's not an NDA thing or anything. No, it's not. It's not. It's just like, you know, never show your next move, right? And I'm not talking about you guys not showing the next move to you, but to the world in general. Because I've come to realize the business world is very, very cold. Bro won't snitch his dreams. Sure, you can say that. But I was saying the business world is very cold. It's very cold. It does not have room for, you know, your feelings or, you know, for friends. You don't go to work to make friends. Bro better release the most fire rap. Maybe, hey, maybe. Maybe. But yeah, like I said, things are going to be very interesting. Yeah, that's all I can say. That's all I can say. I was thinking, actually, I'm glad you're here, Joe, because I was thinking to draw one thing. I'm used to, or I've made the new habit of drawing two faces. And yeah, that'd be the end of the stream. But since I drew just one panel here, I thought maybe we can have some room for the coloring tutorial, which I forgot the name of. What is it called? I forgot. Maybe if you can remind me, that would be very helpful, Joe. Excuse me. Ain't no way. Bro, Cold One got Mr. Beast. That's insane. Okay. What's the tutorial called? Wait, I'm looking for the channel. I'm looking for the channel. Check the channel. I'm looking for the channel. A for the channel. I'm looking for the A. Yes. Thank you so much. 10 minutes to better painting. We started the first one. We didn't finish it, but now we are going to, and I'm going to study. Actually, hey, another thing that I haven't done a long time is actually studying, actually picking a pen and paper and studying something. And during the times, I just want to talk about this real quick before we start. During the times where I used to do this, and I'm not talking about like academics, I'm not talking about college, but during the times where I sat myself down to, write things and to learn, I learned much quicker and much better. And it's like, yeah, no stuff, Sherlock. But I thought maybe I can like micro learn by listening to stuff on the commute, for example, or just like watching a tutorial without really taking notes. But taking notes is very important. I learned that. And you might think, oh, you learned nothing really, because of course taking notes is good, but no, I thought I could take another approach. But yeah, that other approach, I mean, you can learn some stuff if some things can stick in your brain, but not everything, trust me. I need a pen. Okay, shush. Video capture, bada bing bada boom. Boîte réception. Merging shapes. Here you go. Let me grab a pen real quick. All right. So, let's see.
It's time to break out your pocket watch and your paintbrushes for this episode of 10 Minutes to Better Painting. I'm your host, Marco Bucci. Each episode will be structured as follows. Part 1 will be a short lesson that gets us into the subject with some visual examples. Part 2 will feature a full painting demonstration where I will show you how to apply the episode's lesson to your work. And Part 3 will be a final wrap-up of the episode with some closing thoughts. Richard Schmid said once that painters don't see more information than other people do, they actually see less.
Okay, that's a really good quote. I like that. Painters don't see more information than other people do. They actually see less. Oh, I forgot that the last time I started watching this video, I had a freaking existential crisis. Bro came to that quote last time and spent the next 20 minutes having exactly. I swear to God, bro. That's what it I swear I have not seen your your chat. Bro, just watch. It's not that deep. Okay, I won't. Trust me, I won't.
This episode is about merging shapes. You know that old painting maxim that advises you to simplify? Well, merging shapes is one of the many possible ways to do it. I love these etchings by Anders Zorn. They contain such a strong statement of light and character and mood and composition, and yet the medium is so primitive, it's just a bunch of chicken scratched lines on paper. Now, Zorn was a master of simplification and merging shapes, and that's exactly the tool he used to get such a high degree of quality here. Let me show you what I mean with a very simple example. Let's put 4 simple objects in this frame, and these objects will be lit by light, which means they also cast shadow. We just painted a picture. But it's not all that exciting, right? I mean, it looks computer generated and boring. It certainly doesn't look like light. But why? Let's count the number of shapes.
Hold on, you don't need to take notes while watching though. Try taking notes after if you get too distracted. I think I'll try this approach. Maybe I'll try the other.
There's one.
You know, taking notes after on a next video.
1,
But I
2,
like
3,
this.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I had to make 9 shapes just to paint that? Geez, that's gluttony. Let's see if we can simplify this by merging some shapes together. I'll start by duplicating the painting. Now watch as it slowly fades into a simplified version. The same picture, but with the shapes merged together. Let's count the shapes in this version. 1 shape for all of that, 2, 3, and 4. I just reduced the shapes by more than half. Merging shapes means a reduction of information. I've given up the silhouette of every one of those little objects in favor of a larger silhouette. Fewer things to look at. A more simplified effective statement. The reason we simplify is to allow the mood to come through. And mood, that's where art lives. Take a look at this beautiful painting by Dean Cornwell, which I'm showing you in black and white for the purposes of this lesson. Specifically look at this area here, and I'd like you to appreciate for a moment how much information Cornwell has opted to lose by means of merging those shapes together. That's like half the picture reduced to 1 shape. We're not seeing pants or belt buckles or buttons, we're just seeing a big, dark shape. What that subliminally confers to the viewer is, this area is not important. Rather, look up to where the guy's face is, because that's where all the juicy mood and character lies. Dark shape. What that subliminally confers to the viewer is, this area is not important. Rather, look up to where the guy's face is, because that's where all the juicy mood and character lies. And even when we look at the face, sure, there is more information here, but Cornwell is pulling the same kind of design idea. The lower 2/3 of the head, as well as the neck and the shirt, are merged into 1 shape. Merging shapes enhances the element of mystery as well, which coincides perfectly with how we feel about this guy. Look at this breathtaker by Walter Everett. I think a lot of people would say that there's a lot of detail here, which in painter speak means a lot of shapes. But I actually don't think that there is. Looking at it with this simple filter applied, we can see it's actually a carefully manicured path of dark and light shapes merged together that lead us through the picture. I feel like everything this red line touches is an unbroken shape of dark, comprising the very backbone of this picture. And of course, you can merge shapes together in light, too. For example, this large shape made up of the women's veils and faces. So Richard Schmidt is right. Through merged shapes, a painter does see less than what's actually there. But what he didn't say was that painting less is actually harder because it requires us to do something that largely goes against our nature. That is, to express something not by being literal about it, but instead to reduce it to an essential design.
Reducing things to an essential design. Yeah.
That largely goes against our nature. That is, to express something not by being literal about it, but instead to reduce it to an essential design. This is the finished painting I'll be demoing for you in just a second. Now, I chose this particular subject for its complexity. There are 6 or 7 boats in the painting, water, reflections, buildings, figures, atmospheric perspective, the whole 9 yards. If our little example a moment ago had 9 shapes, imagine how many thousands of shapes you'll have to deal with in a picture like this. As I build this painting, pay specific attention to areas of shadow and areas of light in order to see which shapes are sacrificed in favor of a clearer design. So,
okay, wait. So we're looking here at one big shape over here. Almost, okay, this is broken by some light here, so maybe like this, I don't know how I can show it with the cursor. Like this big shape, dark shape in the foreground. And then we have another one here that's like grayish and sort of like the middle ground in here. And then we have a light shape between this foreground and middle ground. And I reckon it's one big shape over here in the background. The light background.
Like this. As I build this painting, pay specific attention to areas of shadow and areas of light in order to see which shapes are sacrificed in favor of a clearer design. And areas of light in order to see which shapes are sacrificed in favor of a clearer design. So right away, I want to point out that I actually design my pictures with shape merging in mind. Even though I know there's going to be boats and figures and houses, I first want to block in overall areas of light and shadow as you see me doing right now.
The question here is, does this only apply to painting? Meaning that
With shape merging in mind. Even though I know there's going to be both
shape merging in mind. Okay, let me shut up.
Boats and figures and houses. I first want to block in overall areas of light and shadow as you see me doing right now. I'm committing myself to a kind of abstract design, the way that this picture is going to read. I know that in these big areas of light and shadow, that is where I will play with merging my shapes. So you see, subject matter is actually secondary, and I'm a firm believer that even the most realistic rendered painting is still an abstract piece of art first, because the painter always has to deal with these shapes that are divorced from reality. But that's what makes art fun. It's a reaction to something. It's not me literally trying to show you every window on every house and every figure. I want to imply that stuff, and I want you to be part of that experience. That is, I want you to fill in the shapes that I merge. So I'm kind of curating you through this picture. I'm stimulating your imagination, I guess, through means of merging these shapes and arriving at kind of an abstract design. Now see that texture I'm putting down? I think it's really helpful to work underneath texture. At least for me, it helps me escape that literal mindset and get into the abstract design mindset. And that's where you want to be, especially if you're painting out of imagination like I am here. So right now you can see the boats coming into the foreground, and you notice already where the boat meets the reflection in the water, those shapes are lost, they're merged together. Even the boats themselves are kind of merging into the houses. If you look at that boat about a third up from the bottom, it's kind of merging into the house. That to me is interesting. You know, I don't need to show you where the tip of every boat is for you to understand it. The human brain is remarkable. We fill in shapes all the time, even in real life. In fact, my conviction in this kind of approach is bolstered by the fact that this is actually rooted in human psychology. When you're walking around the street, you aren't seeing everything. In fact, you're barely seeing anything. You're only seeing the information directly in front of you. Your brain fills in the other stuff left and right. It happens all the time, every minute of every day. So the visual equivalent of that, to me, is...
Man. That You know how this sounds like? This sounds like crisis averted, bro. Shut up. This sounds like you need to be like you need to have a very fundamental understanding of human psychology first, and then you can, make good drawings. I know that's probably wrong, but it sounds like humans understanding human psychology is very important.
Is merging shapes and
Am I
actually
wrong?
showing
Maybe I'm
less
wrong.
in your picture, like I explained in the lesson. By showing less, we can actually communicate more. Let me expand on that. If I were merging shapes and actually showing less in your picture, like I explained in the lesson, by showing less, we can actually communicate more. Let me expand on that. If I were to show you every literal shape that actually would exist in this picture, I would lose the feeling of this location. It wouldn't capture it. It would be like reading a textbook. Whereas if I'm doing it like I am here with merging shapes and try to mimic visually how I feel about this scene, I'm essentially sacrificing one thing, that is the amount of shapes, in order to gain something else, which is the feeling that is going to allow this picture to resonate with viewers. Now, this is where painting gets very creative, because I'm the one who gets to choose which of these thousands of shapes get merged. And I just threw a posterized filter over it to evaluate my progress. The posterized filter helps me see kind of the trends of my lights and darks to see if I'm on the right track. So that's something you can use if you work digitally. Even if you work traditionally, you can scan your stuff, bring it into Photoshop, and check it out. So I'm on the right track here. I like where this is going. I like how the posts are merging into the water, or merging into the boats, which are merging into the houses. There's even an indication of figures there kind of ghosting in and out of lights and darks. Now, you do want to choose the key areas where your silhouette is very clear. Look at the third boat up from the bottom, this area here. You notice that that boat is silhouetting over the light shape, because we need something to latch onto as a viewer.
Yeah.
So that is a very
Context.
clear area of silhouette where there is absolutely no shape merging going on. It essentially tells your brain this is a boat, and then it gives context to all the other stuff that's lost and merged. So I'm halfway through the painting here, which, by the way, took me about an hour and a half of real time to do. And the thing I love about this idea of merging shapes and coming up with big areas of light and dark is that it gives you a structure that you can depend upon for the entirety of the painting process. You know, I don't feel like I'm guessing now as I'm working on this. I feel confident that the picture as an abstract design works. And that leads to conviction and confidence that anything I do within that structure is also likely to work. You know, I think the real hard part of the painting is actually at the beginning, when you're first making these big decisions that are going to dictate the rest of the process. But at the same time, if you fail to make those big decisions early on, you will certainly run into the problem of so many shapes creeping into your painting, none of them seeming to have any purpose behind them. You'll go back and forth, and it'll just be a really frustrating experience for you. So again, knowing which shapes I'm likely to merge as I work, and knowing how that contributes to an overall structure of the picture's design, it gives me the confidence to kind of freely create, because I know that so long as I adhere to the structure I set out for myself, I'm likely to have a successful picture by the end. And because merging shapes means you paint fewer shapes, you can actually get a piece of work like this done quite quickly, which is actually very important, especially if you're a concept artist or something.
All right, so uh I'm just trying to take in how this is going to be beneficial for me. You're not that wrong though. About what? I'm sorry. I about what? I'm not wrong. Next one, next one. Okay. No, next one is going to be tomorrow. But I just want to think about, because this is painting, right? In his drawing, he doesn't start with literal shapes first. He starts with the merged shapes, which is a very interesting approach, because I think, for example, what I've been drawing, the way I've been drawing so far is drawing the each shape as it is, or at least trying to do it, or reduce it. Yes, reduce it is the word. To reduce it to the literal shapes that make up the human body, for example, or the human hand. And then the merging of the shapes when it comes to light and shadow comes later. But if in this approach, or in this video, you go straight to light and shadow. You go straight to merge shapes, which I don't know if it's like helpful, right? Especially for a beginner, or if it's going to be like a problem, right? So I'm trying to make sense of that. Maybe we'll try that tomorrow. Try to draw something with the merged shapes in mind first, and then, you know, add in the detail as we go. But I think drawing and painting are different things. So the approach is going to be obviously different, and you can help me with this if I'm wrong, Joe. When drawing, you literally draw the shapes. When painting, you draw the merged shapes. And then you draw the literal shapes. When drawing, you draw the literal shapes and you go into merging, right? So drawing the shapes, you go into merging. When painting, however, you start with the merged shapes and you start not reducing, but adding detail as you go, I think. But then again, when drawing, you don't draw the little shapes first, you draw the bigger shapes and then you reduce. If you can draw, you probably can paint. That's very interesting. Okay. I see you. I see you. Because painting and drawing is the same, isn't it? When drawing, you can start with details though. Some process are like that. Okay. Line is basically the outline of a paint stroke. Yes, that is true. You encapsulate a painted shape with lines, imaginary lines. Lines don't exist in real life. They are the same. Painting and drawing are the same. It's just that using different brushes, isn't it? When you're drawing, you use a thin line to outline the merged shapes. But when painting, you fill in the merged shapes as in real life, right? In real time, I'm sorry. They are the same. You're right. Very interesting stuff. All right. This is good.
So here's another way to think of shapes. Think of them as being like annoying, needy, crying children in a daycare, all clamoring for your attention all at the same time. And you want some peace and quiet, yet you only have the capacity to satisfy 3 of the children. So what do you do to the...
You know what I would have been able to do here, for example. I was able to, because we see a gray here, we see a gray, a black, and a white, right? And I could have gone like this, and then like this, right? This is let's say this is black, right? And then this is going to be very sloppy, by the way, so And then we have a white. And so the white shape is just like this, right? And then we have a black, and the black is right here. Right? And this is, I'm going to fill in these shapes. And then we have another white, a white again. And this is the foot. Right? A little bit more black here. And then you start adding detail from there. Okay. Okay.
The rest of it, yet you only are all clamoring for your attention all at the same time. And you want some peace and quiet, yet you only have the capacity to satisfy 3 of the children. So what do you do to the rest of them? Well, you
throw them out. Oh my god. He actually did throw. That's funny.
And you want some peace and quiet, yet you only have the capacity to satisfy 3 of the children. So what do you do to the rest of them? Well, you... Yeah, you get the idea.
Okay, come on now. That's very funny. Did I already like it? Okay. Alright, yeah, this is very interesting. At least he didn't merge them. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Joe, I really appreciate you. And yeah, we're going to watch each video every day. And that is a promise. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, peace out.